Hello YouTube, Nathan Dewey here doing an overview of my AR15 build after 250 rounds. This is from Outdoor Sports USA, also known as Eaglelite Inc. on Instagram. It weighs 6.6 pounds empty. The build you see in front of you minus the magazines and the case costs just over $500 in parts. First, let's talk about the internals. The mag release, the safety, the fire control group, and the takedown pins are from LBE. This does come with its own parts, but a problem I had was that either the hook on the back of the hammer or the disconnector itself was oversized to where when I put the hammer in, the disconnector would catch onto it and it would not let go. So if you use the parts that they provide you, you may have to do some file work to make them work properly. Be careful doing that, because if you take off too much material, you will have to scrap that part. Next, the sights. These are folding metal AIM sights. It did come with these cheap imitation Magpul sights. They're not bad, they do work, but the problem I had with these sights is that the little tab that gives you either the big or the small rear sight hole has no detent. It's just held in by friction, and what would happen is that if you store the gun with the sights down and then you flip it up, this part could be jumped forward. So either you would, if you wanted the small hole, you would either have to leave the sights up or just pinch it close every single time you wanted to make it go up. Okay, there you go, like that. These do lock down, but they do not lock up. How do I do this? There you go. Yeah. Next is the flash suppressor. Now, the flash suppressor did come with the kit, but the problem I had with that is that it came rusty. In fact, it was the only part that came rusty. The barrel was wrapped in wax paper and was pristine. Same goes for the bolt carrier group. Every other part that was important for the function came pristine, but the flash suppressor had some red rust on it. So what I wound up doing was I tried soaking it in vinegar and then scrubbed it off. I then tried to re-blue it with gun blue paste, but it did not look right. So what I wound up doing was coating it in Sharpie. It's cheap, it looks better than it did, and I can always strip it if I have to. Next is reliability. After 250 rounds, I had 0 malfunctions. 250 rounds spread between 5 magazines and different brands of ammunition. Both 223 Remington and 5.56. Not a single issue. I used both Gen 2 and Gen 3 PMags. 10, 20, 30, 40 rounders, they all work. This here is a Daniel Defense 32 rounder, same thing. The brands I used were Winchester, American Eagle, as well as Frontier, and Midwest reloads as well. Only brass case, I did not use steel, but everything worked. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you leave the bolt open, there we go. If you leave the bolt open and you load in a magazine, I'm not going to actually do it, but if you load in a magazine, right, and then you send it the bolt to slam into battery, you will get a very faint mark on the end of the primer, but it will not detonate the primer. You have to squeeze the trigger in order for the primer to be ignited. I did not see any evidence of fire pin drag. Okay, that's my overview of the Eaglelite Inc. AR15 build. Thanks for looking. Take care.